So there I was, boarding a Greek ferry near Athens. My son Galen and I were leaving early in the morning for the island of Paros, about a 3-hour journey. As we sailed out of the bustling harbor, the eastern sky began to turn pink over a nearby mountain range. And then suddenly the sun started to rise, sending its long rays across the bright blue sky, the rocky mountainside, then out across a still turquoise sea until it shone on us. For a moment, I feared that the ferry was going to tip over as most of the passengers rushed to that side of the boat to gaze at this spectacular sight and to take photos. I watched their faces light up with pleasure. Everyone, a miniature sunrise greeting the larger one. That's one of many memories I have of the last 6 months I've been on sabbatical. What an adventure it has been. It's impossible to tell you in one Sunday all that I did, all that I learned, all the ways I have changed. It's all so fresh I'm not even certain myself. But I will be sharing bits and pieces of my adventures over the next few weeks and few months. So do stay tuned in. When I say I've been on an adventure, I mean more than it was fun and exciting. A true adventure is an exploration of new lands, new ideas, new people. An adventure implies taking risk for the possibility of finding something new about ourselves and the world. In the words of Helen Keller, life is either a great adventure or nothing. And I like the way J.R.R. Tolkien put it in The Hobbit. He wrote, "Remember what Bilbo used to say? It's a dangerous business, Frodo, going out your door. You step onto the road, and if you don't keep your feet, there's no knowing where you may be swept off to." Well, I believe that life is an adventure of having a limited time on this earth to find purpose and meaning in our life. We are not here to simply hang out, to spend our days watching TV, unless it's the Olympics, of course, or making and spending money, or collecting as much as we can, much stuff as we can. The greatest of all adventures is to grow a soul, which means to open our hearts wide to love, forgiveness, courage, and joy. Now, I know some of you are asking, how do I rate this time to go off to grow my soul, right? Well, as appreciative as I am of this opportunity, sabbaticals are as much for congregations as they are for ministers. Well, okay, almost as much. Ministers take this time to grow our souls so that we can better help you to grow yours. To fill the spiritual wells of others, we need our own spiritual wells overflowing. And to fill our wells, we need adventures that challenge us to learn, to grow, and to deepen our spirituality. And what a deal! In return, you get back a new minister, or at least one who has been renewed, refreshed, recharged, reinvigorated, and is ready to re-engage in this exciting adventure of Unitarian Universalism. Now, I know you folks have not been sitting on your duffs the last 6 months waiting for me to return. As you said earlier, and as my spies have reported, you've accomplished a great deal. You are not the same people or the same congregation you were when I left. You've grown our church while I was away, and some of you have had significant changes in your personal lives as well. Illnesses, the death of a loved one, a new life or a new love, a job lost or found. Now, I look forward to hearing about your changes in the days ahead, and I hope you will contact me if you would like to share with me what has been going on with your life. Now, I've changed in a number of ways. First of all, I'm a lot smarter. Can you tell? I had 4 primary goals for my sabbatical, and the first was to renew my adventure of ideas, as Alfred Whitehead called it. When I'm in the midst of ministry, it's difficult to find the time to keep up with the intellectual currents of the day. So I wanted to broaden my knowledge, insights, and wisdom. Besides reading a good number of books, and what a pleasure it is just to have the time to read the books that I love. Terry and I spent a month at our beloved Chautauqua Institution in upstate New York, where my IQ and my happiness quotient just goes up every time I visit. Usually we're there for a week or so, but having an entire month of listening to stimulating lectures, to concerts, to worship services, and much, much more was like going to heaven. I was also the UU Minister of the Week for the UU Fellowship at Chautauqua, which I always enjoy. For their Sunday worship, I brought back to life Reverend Joseph Priestley, an infamous Unitarian politician, scientist, and minister during the American Revolution. Thomas Jefferson, another hero of mine, along with some of his compatriots from the Williamsburg Heritage Society, were visiting Chautauqua that week, sharing with us the spirit of revolution in their day. A special thrill for me was to have a conversation with Mr. Jefferson in which we talked about his Unitarian beliefs and his close friendship with Joseph Priestley. I also reminded him of his optimistic claim that no young man of his day would die before becoming a Unitarian. Patrick Henry, who was also present for the conversation, commented that when Mr. Jefferson seems to have lost his memory about this. So Patrick Henry commented that Mr. Jefferson had the habit of making such hyperbolic statements after visiting the local pub. Another goal for me was to travel, and boy did I travel. I've always believed that the adventure of travel is the best education anyone can receive, giving us the chance to learn from a wide diversity of other cultures and perspectives. In the words of Mark Twain, travel is fatal to prejudice, bigotry, and narrow-mindedness. I spent a month in Europe seeing places I've never seen, including Belgium, the Netherlands, Germany, Switzerland, and France. I visited amazing cities, including Amsterdam, a city of lights, Paris, a city of lights, and Cologne, a beautiful cathedral city, and many small towns and villages as well. I also traveled around Greece, exploring the ancient sites of Athens and meandering around the islands of the Aegean Sea. And Terry and I have just returned from New Zealand, so if I fall asleep in the middle of my sermon, you'll understand there's some jet lag there, where we toured the country and witnessed one of her novels being filmed by a German television company, and what a thrill that was, and she was pretty excited herself. One of the most memorable places I visited was the Anne Frank Museum in Amsterdam, located in the factory where she and her family hid from the Nazis for 2 years before she was discovered and put into a concentration camp where she died. How many of you have been to the Anne Frank house? Just an incredible place, very powerful. To see those tiny rooms and to hear again her tragic story moved me to tears. And to glimpse her courageous spirit was inspirational beyond words. She wrote how wonderful it is that nobody need wait a single moment before starting to improve the world. I wish you could see how her diary has become one of the most influential pieces of literature in the world today.